Wedge 2.0, baby. We've been rolling this formation since it came out into the game last week, and I've actually been fighting with it in KVK, and it is so powerful. Just uber powerful. And we've talked about the power creep and how that's not great for the game if it's not accessible to everybody. But this video is going to be about the inscriptions. We're going to do our inscription tier list. I always get asked this. It's traditionally, I do a tier list for all the different formations and the inscriptions, and that's what I'm going to do today. And I'm also going to talk about some of the other things when it comes to the priority of your specials and your rares. We're going to talk about the soar inscription. That's a rare inscription on the instrument that's getting a lot of conversation. Also, the special inscription on the flag. So stick around while we set you all up for Wedge 2.0. Hey everybody, I'm your boy War Daddy Chatsky. I do videos for Rise of Kingdoms all the time, and if you enjoy these videos, please guys, throw a thumbs up, give it a like if you get anything out of these videos, if they're entertaining or they help you with the game. Also subscribe if you haven't. You can hit that subscribe button and hit that bell. And also I have a contest of a giveaway for every video that I do throughout the months of March, April, and May. Now we are going to give away a $10 flux every single video, and today's winner, this goes off yesterday's video. You guys put the comments in, you automatically get eligible to win. All you got to do is comment on my videos. That's all you got to do. So we randomly picked one out, and here's who we got. Hey, Nubby Sev, let's go. Rest mode is great, but I feel it's a hassle to try to manage your kingdom members to spread it out, especially during downtime. So he's the winner. You get $10 flux, buddy. Great job. Thank you for commenting on that rest mode survey video I did yesterday. And if you guys want to comment on this video, I will pick a winner for the next video. So that's how this thing works. We're giving away, baby. That's what we love to do. Well, Wedge 2.0 has come into the game, right? And it has completely taken things by storm. I have not only moved my Chin inscriptions on my archers over to Wedge 2.0, I've also done it with cavalry, and I've been running Huo in the field. And so we're going to go through this a little bit as I'm going to give you the application on how a lot of this stuff works, okay? And when you do try to figure out how all this stuff comes into play, one of the first things we got to do is go to our boy Daver, okay? Daver, who you guys know, is one of my guys, right? He helps me out with the channel. He is a resident nerd with me. We test things all over the place. I'm gonna have a link in the description for his basically his toolbox, right? And one of the things he covers, he talks about Indomitable, and he talks about Chin and how that thing works for Chin, and he goes through the whole thing. He goes through a whole thing on the rage setups. He goes through a whole thing on how the uptime works. He goes through all the discussions. He also talks about Soar. Soar is actually a super powerful rare inscription. And there is some thoughts of like, hey, is this better than Spirited? Because Spirited's really powerful for Chin. So we'll talk about all of these, okay? But overall, this is where we have this information as we go through all this stuff with Daver and kind of go through how this thing works. Daver, of course, is a part of the King's Codex, and he's an exceptional brainiac when it comes to Rise of Kingdoms, and he and I do testing all the time, and we're always talking about this stuff. And now with that, we're going to get into a little bit of this stuff, okay? The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go through a priority list of your special inscriptions, and we give a rating for each one of those special inscriptions, okay? I'm going to put it up here. So as we work through the priority list, that's what we'll do first, okay? So let me pull this up here. It's my little Chin. These are all going to be applicable for Chin, okay? There might be some variations for traditional skill damage commanders, and that's one of the things that we'll go through, but this will be for Chin. Now, the website I'm using here is meta-rock.com, okay? This is Cortex's site. I'm going to have this thing down in the description, and he's done a really good job of being able to make this easy. For content creators, for people who are ranking things, you can rank different commanders. You can do all kinds of stuff with this website. So I encourage everybody to go check it out. That's what I'll be using for a lot of this tier list stuff. Okay, so let's look at this. Because right off the rip, we've got horseback action, right? This is the emblem slot for Wedge 2.0. It's a 10 out of 10. That's what Daver and I rate this thing at. It is easily a 10 out of 10, and it is really, really potent. And as we talk about for the emblem slot, that is the one you want to focus on first with your pity, 12.5% boost to skill damage dealt is insane. The emblem slot is the boost slot. You go to any one of them, it gives a boost, right? 12.5% is nuts. And that's a great situation because you're getting so much skill damage bonus through the commanders, through the inscriptions, through your everything that you have, your armaments and everything. And this just boosts all that. So it's a multiplier. And that's why it's so potent. That's a 10 out of 10, okay? You come to the second one, it's advantage advanced. This I love. I love this because this is the KVK inscription, right? This is off the scroll slot. I love it when we get scroll slots that are just super powerful because it's easy for people to get. You can get it in the Autark shop, whether you win a KVK or if you've gotten the Autark fragments to 3, or whether you lose a KVK and now you can get an Autark even if you lose a KVK. This is really potent, and the reason why is because it starts with a 7% boost to skill damage. That's the baseline. It's awesome. And then if you hit a target with over 50% troops remaining, you know, a full march, you're going to get an extra 10% damage to skill damage. Okay, it's a bonus to skill damage. And when you're hitting with Chin every second, that's awesome. That's amazing because you're boosting all that skill damage bonuses that you're rolling up. Then if you hit a target with less than 50% troops remaining, you put a debuff on the target where it takes 2.5% more damage. It's awesome. Okay. I would rather be hitting a full march because you're going to get more benefit out of that 10% more bonus to skill damage than you are the debuff. But you got to remember, if you debuff the target, all of your marches are benefiting from that because the target's going to take 2.5% more damage from all sources. Okay. And that's really good. And it is a 10 out of 10. Set it and forget it. Awesome. Okay. Now we're going to go to the instrument slot because this is one of the things that people were kind of talking about and trying to figure out. And one of the things that we talked about with Daver, he's got that whole system set up to where he goes through this and you give that an 8.5 out of 10. Super powerful. 8.5 is a great score and it's super powerful when it comes to the instrument slot. Okay, what does it do? Well, you get the baseline of 7% boost to skill damage. Now, the concern here is that for every 300 rage the yielder has, their troop deals 1% more damage. Now, this stacks up to 3 times. All right, and you're going to take 1% less damage. You can stack it up. Okay, you can stack this up to up to 5%. All right, now I said 3 times. That's a 3-second cooldown. But it's going to, or a 3-second duration of the skill or of the actual effect, but you can stack it up to 5%. And if you go through Daver's stuff, you run this up to 3 and 4% very quickly and very easily, even with Chin, because it's all about the 300 rage the yielder has. Even though he's consuming rage, as he keeps gaining rage, he runs this up. It works out really well. And so you're able to add additional damage of all damage and take less damage while you're running this. Okay, not quite as potent because you got to run those stacks up, but you can get this thing to 3% and 4% really easily. Okay, and so from that standpoint, if you have a high rage engine commander like Huo or a new archer commander that's going to be primary, that's not going to do rage consumption, you can actually run this up very quick and easy and probably gets an even better score. So that's what you're looking at with Indomitable, and it works out really well. So that gives you an 8 out of 10. Now we're going to get to the one that's getting some getting a little bit of run. This is the flag slot. We give this a 5 out of 10. Now, first and foremost, the flag slot from the courier shop, guys, this is the best inscription you can get. However, okay, there is some concerns with this, and there's all kinds of information that's out there about this. Let's go to the flag slot and talk about this, okay? Omniarch did a video on this, and he talked about it, and there's definitely some concerns. When you are getting swarmed down, okay, you're running this up because you're doing it off of basic and counterattack damage. First of all, it starts out with a mitigation, right? 2% damage resistance. That's like a boost for less damage taken, and a 2% smite damage resistance, okay? And so from that standpoint, if you're running up smite damage, mitigations through your talent trees, because we have a lot of that stuff going on now with the different talent trees. Like if you come to the support tree, you can see it. Where's my boy Arthur? Because a lot of people are running, or I'm sorry, where's my boy Herman? Because a lot of people are running Herman in the field now with the support tree, right? Well, you're rolling up so much smite damage mitigation here, and you do it with loose formation, 9% less smite damage. So when you apply that to the actual, when you apply that to the actual effect of the flag, you're just running up 2% more smite damage resistance. So that's like a multiplier, right? That's really, really good. But within the next 5 seconds after using the active skill, for every 3 basic attacks or counterattack damage dealt, the next basic attack will have its damage converted into direct damage instead. Okay, this is very important because with Chen, it's gonna delay if he's being swarmed. All right, but we ran this and Daver ran the heck out of this, and that's what his dissertation really is about when it comes to that. So I encourage everybody to go read it. This doesn't really affect you. When you are focusing marches in the field, the only way that this is really a hindrance is if you're getting swarmed. And if you're getting swarmed, you're probably getting killed anyways. It doesn't even matter. But when it comes to field fighting, if you're not getting swarmed, you don't even have to worry about this. As far as you don't have to worry about this nerfing your rage and making Chen fire off less often. So that's how the application works. If you're getting swarmed, you are not going to fire off as fast with Chen, but if you're getting swarmed, you're going to die anyways. It doesn't matter. So with that, is it a nerf for Chen? No, a nerf is basically something that's a detriment. Okay, this is not a detriment. With the mitigation up here at the top, and with the fact that the overwhelming majority of time you're just attacking and you're not getting swarmed, that makes this thing still pretty good. Now, it's not amazing because you do have that element of getting swarmed and delaying Chen, but overall it works out really, really good to have some sort of benefit from this special inscription. It's not like destructive for Arch. You guys know me and Arch. This is a nerf, okay? If you guys want to look at it, like I said, this is a nerf because you can run a common inscription and get better results. It actually is worse to run this, okay? That's a nerf. This is not a nerf. This is just not as quite as potent as the other special inscriptions. So that is kind of how we lay out the special inscriptions when it comes to this. 10 out of 10 for horseback action, 10 out of 10 for advantage advanced, 8.5 out of 10 for indomitable, and 5 out of 10 for maneuver at ease. Okay, that's your special inscriptions. All right, so let's get on now. We'll go to the rare inscriptions. Okay, so now we're going to move on here to our rare inscriptions. Okay, this is what we got for the rare inscription. This is in comparison to the specials. Of course, you see the special inscriptions, 10 out of 10 at the top, 10 out of 10 here, 8.5 out of 10 here, 5 out of 10 here. Then on the rares, you get 4.5 out of 10 for Soar and Divine Staff. Let's talk about these because there is some concern on the Soar side of things when it comes to the rare inscription for the instrument slot. Okay, let's go through it. First of all, you get a 2% skill damage boost, which is pretty good for a rare, right? You get an extra boost for that. And then for every 600 rage gain, the wielder's troop gains 4% bonus to all damage dealt and 2% reduction to all damage taken for the next 3 seconds. I will refer you guys back to Daver's link down in the description. He goes through all this, and this isn't a 600 rage that the yielder has currently. This is a rage gain situation. So even if you're consuming rage with Chen, right, you're going to run the rage gained up to 600 very, very quickly. Because when you're consuming rage based on the damage he's doing, you're also consuming rage from the other mechanics he has in his skill set. And so off of his skill, his kit, you're able to actually push that rage gained up over 600 very, very quickly and easily. This is a super powerful rare inscription. Like a lot of people have been running Spirited with Chen because this is actually really, really good. It's the only time we've ever had a situation where Spirited as a common inscription actually works, because that does not work for traditional commanders. When they fire off their active skills, you lose that 5% damage. But for Chen, it's been amazing. And like Rizabeth in my 300 chat saying, Chatsky, I just need to know if Soar is better than Spirited. And the answer is definitely yes. It is better. It is really, really, really good. And so from that standpoint, you can go into Daver's dissertation on that. He talks all about that and goes into the details of how Soar is really, really good. So on the rare inscription side of things, we give that a 4.5 out of 10. Okay, that is the tops of the rare inscriptions. Then we've got Divine Staff. Okay, so when you go into Divine Staff, which one is that? Hold on. I believe that is the Emblem. That's just the straight 5% boost to skill damage dealt, which is really good for a rare. like super good. And so that gets a high score as well. And then when you come over here, you see we've got Fury, which is in the scroll slot, and Ballista, which is in the flag slot. So you come over here to Fury, you can use this no problem. It's not one of those crazy situations when it comes to Chen where he doesn't need more rage. This is actually really, really good that you can use. 3.5 out of 10 is a score. And whenever you do skill damage, you ignore 10% of the troop's defense. This effect can trigger up to 3 times per second. There's only a 2-second cooldown there. So if you're using Chen, you're able to get this and have really good uptime with this as you're piercing through some of that troop defense. It actually works out really, really well. And it also works out well if you're using any other traditional skill damage commander like Huo or like a new archer commander that we're getting soon. If they have to become a primary commander and you got Zuge behind them or Herman behind them, you can actually run this really, really well. Then you've got Ballista on the flag slot. This is also 3.5 or 3.5 out of 10. And it is very important to understand because we gave a 5 out of 10 for maneuver, right? Just based on what this thing does, it's not actually super powerful. It's only a 5 out of 10. You still keep good uptime on this. You don't have to worry about this unless you're getting swarmed. But Ballista is right there with it because you're getting 1.5% damage resistance and 1.5% smite damage resistance. Well, you're almost getting the full benefit of this. All right, we've talked about that. And so from there, it's still pretty good and probably going to be better than any other common you can run. But there is going to be some situations to where this is going to be able to be used. You don't have to kill yourself trying to get maneuver at ease. You can run Ballista or you can run some of the common inscriptions as I go through the inscription tier list. So that gives you an idea when it comes to the rares, okay? So now we're going to continue to use Meta Rock and we're going to go through this and we're going to give you the scroll slot tier list, okay? So let's do that. And here it is, all right? We've got this as a tier list straight up. We talked about Advantage Advanced, can't get any better. Fury is going to be in a league of its own, running 4 out of 10 on our little scale as the rare inscription for the slow slot. And then we run Furious and Robust. The reason why Furious gets so much play here is because the more boosting we're doing to skill damage, the more valuable Furious gets. Let me come over here and kind of pull it up. Furious gives you an 8% bonus to all skill damage types and a 3% bonus to counterattack. Okay, that's when you use an active skill and you get that for 3 seconds. So with Chen, you're getting it while he's firing off, and then whoever's behind him, boom, they get that 8% bonus to skill damage. The reason why this is so important is because you're running up the boost everywhere. You've got boosts going on everywhere, whether you're running the rare on the emblem, 5% boost, 12.5% boost. You're running the instrument, you're running 7% boost. It's just constant. You're running up the skill damage so high on the boost that any skill damage bonus you give just gets amplified. So that's why Furious is ranked so high when it comes to that. Okay, we'll go through a couple more of these things so you guys get an idea. You've got Robust is in there with it, with the health. Then you've got the defense and the attack sitting at the B tier. This is 3.5% defense with Well Clad, 3.5% attack with War Cry. Then you've got Ward, Pulverize, you've got Calm, you've got Breaker, and it's a debuff, and you've got Enrage. Okay, these are really pretty decent, but they're not like just crazy outstanding. And so that's one of the things that you want to look at when it comes to how do you prioritize this. Then at the bottom here, these are all things that have a little bit of benefit, but you really want to stay away from. Okay, so there's your tier list on the commons and what we do, okay? You've got Furious and Robust on the common inscriptions that are the highest, Well Clad and War Cry. Then you've got good value, not amazing, but it still gives you better value than these guys down here. And if you get these guys, I wouldn't even mess with it, guys. I'm not going to go through each one of them. You guys can look at them yourself, and that helps you understand. You've got some counterattack here. You got a little bit of march speed here. You got some march speed here. You've got some shielding here. But these are not going to enhance Chen or really a Huo Arthur or a Herman Zuge march to that degree. So there is your list when it comes to the scroll slot tier list. Okay, now we're going to move over and go to the, what is this? We're going to go to the instrument slot. Okay, we talked about Indomitable. That's an 8.5 out of 10. We talked about Soar. Soar is a 4.5 out of 10, one of the best rare inscriptions. They're in a league of their own. Now, you're going to see a couple of things here that are different, okay? You're going to have Embattled and Guarded and Spirited to go along with Fit and Devious, okay? Let's talk about these, because this is very important for people to understand. Embattled and Guarded changed. A lot of things had changed with this. With the new mitigation to smite and combo, they added this to some of these common inscriptions. Over here, now they added smite and combo to this when you take less damage. It's great. Or when you take any sort of damage, you get 50 rage. So now if you're in the field and you're getting hit by anything, you're grabbing that. Guarded also, they added smite and combo that you're going to reduce that damage by 20%. That is super good. And then Devious just has a little bit of skill damage. All the skill damage common inscriptions get amplified when it comes to Wedge 2.0 because of all the boost that comes with it, okay? And that's why it is so important to have some of those inscriptions, or to be able to prioritize some of those inscriptions. So you can see Embattled, Devious, Guarded, and then we had talked about Spirited. Spirited is really good, y'all. Like I said, when it comes to Chen, you run your rage up over 70% all the time, and you like keep it there. Like you can get a consistent 5% all damage on high uptime when you're running with Chen. Now, if you're running this with Huo and you're running this with Herman and Zuge, the Spirited is going to be really bad. You're going to put it like way down here, okay? But with Chen, we keep it up here. So those are really good, along with the 3.5% health here. Those are really good inscriptions to use for the instrument slot. Then you come down to Armored, which is 3.5% defense. Brutal is 3.5% attack. You run up the normal damage with Uplifting. You've got Primed, which is really good with some March Speed. Vengeful's got some Rage, and Respite kicks back more damage. And then you've got these guys down here that do just a little bit, nothing crazy, counterattack, a little bit of March Speed. You got a little bit of extra damage that you do, and it's nothing crazy. But that's kind of your tier list when it comes to the instrument slot, okay? So everybody understands how this thing works. All right, that's what we want to do, is make sure you prioritize the common inscriptions you have for Wedge 2.0, and then make sure you prioritize your specials and your rares, okay? So now we are going to go to the flag slot. All right, this is the flag slot, and even though Maneuverity only gets a 5 out of 10, it's still up here in a class by itself, okay? Ballista is also going to be at the S tier. That's a 4 out of 10. That's really close to the special inscription for the flag slot. We talked about it, but it's still a league of their own. Then you've got Assertive and Vitality, okay? Assertive, 2% damage. It's when you're in the field, it's great. Vitality, 3.5% health. Those are your A tiers. You've got your Strategic and your Metallics and Brawler, okay? The reason why I put Brawler up here, all right, and probably could put Brawler up here when it comes to the benefit of the skill damage, because like I said, anything you're doing skill damage with, okay, 2.5% more skill damage, you're ramping that up and it gets a big bonus. So I'm actually going to leave that at the A tier. Then I'm going to put Strategic and Metallic there at that B tier. And then I'm actually going to move Spiked, which is your attack. I'm going to move that up to B tier, probably behind Metallic and Strategic. And then you've got some others here with Cohesive, which is, these are good. They're not crazy insane, but they're good. And good counterattack, 5% counterattack damage when you're surrounded. You got Wary and Eclipsed here. So you got these common inscriptions that are pretty good. And then these ones just aren't amazing. It's just a little bit of counterattack when it comes to rebuff. You got Warflame, some normal damage. You got Galloping, a little bit of March Speed, and then you got Striker, okay? So that's kind of your tier list when it comes to the flag slot for the Wedge 2.0. You got Maneuverity. It's really interesting because if you have like an Assertive, okay, and you don't have a rare or special, you don't have to kill yourself trying to get that. If you've got Brawler, if you got a double with Brawler and Spiked, great, just go run that. You know, a lot of these doubles, if you put them together, will actually perform as well as some of these rare and specials when it comes to the flag slot for the Wedge 2.0, okay? And so we can go through that. I encourage everybody to join my Discord because you can ask these questions in there. And we got Daver in there and me and a bunch of other nerds that help kind of put that stuff together, okay? Now let's go to the Emblem slot, of course. Horseback action, off the charts. Absolutely off the charts. 12.5% boost, 10 out of 10, amazing. Divine Staff, 5% boost, amazing. Artisan goes up above the 3.5% health. And let me explain that, okay? When it comes to Artisan, it's really, really potent, and it's really, really good. I've seen some players who have a double with the special inscription and artisan. And so from there, you get 3% more skill damage of all types, 1.5% more counterattack. That is amazing. With all the boosts that we're running up, artisan is really, really good, and it gets a high score, okay? So with that, we want to kind of go through here and look at some of these other ones. Of course, Hardy is going to give you the health, all right? And you've also got Shielded and Deflector and Daring. That's the 2.5% skill damage. It's good, not as good here, but it's good down here that you can run. Then you've got Infamy, which is attack. You got Watchman. You got Smite, a little bit of normal damage. You got Rapacious, and Counterer is okay. I'm not a huge fan of Counterer, but it's good. Counterer is more for rallies and garrisons because you're basically taking less counterattack damage. Then you got 2.5% counterattack damage that you're actually doing. You've got Guardians, Enduring, got a little bit of March Speed here, got a little bit of normal damage here. You've got Evasive, you take less damage, and you've got Elite. So those are kind of your setups for the tier list that you're wanting to run your emblem slot. So I'm going to have some artwork on this and make sure everybody sees it and make sure everybody's got it in my Discord to where it's nice and easy and you guys can do this and we can go through the rankings. But I appreciate Daver for really testing out a lot of this stuff, and he and I having those conversations and going through it. Appreciate Cortex to have a really cool website that we can do that stuff with. Encourage everybody to go to look at that and use that for your tier list of commanders or armaments or whatever you might want to do. Wedge 2.0 is here, y'all. We'll have more application with this when we get the new Archer Commander out, because if you're going to put the new Archer Commander by himself, you're going to run 2 Archer Marches and you're going to run him away from Chin and have a secondary behind him, then some of these things are a little bit different and you have different value. Just like I've said, guys, I know how to run this stuff because I'm already running it on Huo and I'm running this in the field and it's actually doing really well. Okay, I'm not saying everybody needs to go do this, but you have different applications on some of these things for different commanders. So if you guys got anything out of this, if you enjoyed the video, please throw a thumbs up, give it a like. Also, I love the comments. Not only do I love engaging with you guys in the comments, but you enter to win the $10 flux that we give away every video. So make sure and put down a comment. And with that being said, hope you have a great day, broskies.